Hello everyone. Today, we have a story about love, trust, and unexpected revelations as Sarah discovers her husband has been hiding a life-changing secret. But there's more to it than just a story. As we follow this suspenseful tale, we'll also learn some new English phrases and words and how to make sentences with them. This will help us practice English in a fun and easy way. So, stay with us till the end. My name is Sarah, and I am 34 years old. I have been married to David for almost 12 years. Our marriage has been a happy one, filled with laughter, love, and shared dreams. There is, however, one unfulfilled dream that has weighed heavily on us, the dream of having a child. For years, we tried everything. We consulted doctors, followed treatments, and hoped for a miracle. But nothing worked. Despite this, our shared struggle brought us closer. Our love for each other only deepened as we supported one another through the disappointments. Lately, though, David had been acting differently. He seemed distant, quieter than usual. He worked late more often and shared less about his day when he came home. I noticed how he avoided eye contact at times and seemed preoccupied. I brushed off my concerns at first, thinking he might be stressed about work. But when he told me he had a work engagement during the weekend, my suspicion grew stronger. That Friday evening, as David stepped into the washroom, I saw his phone on the coffee table. I had never felt the need to check his phone before, but something inside me pushed me to pick it up. My hands trembled as I unlocked it using the password I'd known for years. I navigated to his messages and found a conversation with someone named Lila. The messages weren't overly romantic, but they were personal, filled with discussions about meetings and cryptic references to shared moments. My heart sank. I then opened his calendar app and saw several entries marked "Meeting with Al." My mind raced. Who was this woman? Why hadn't David told me about her? Determined to uncover the truth, I decided to follow David that weekend. On Saturday morning, David left home in his usual suit, carrying a briefcase. I waited a few minutes before grabbing my coat and following him. My heart pounded as I tailed his car through the city streets. Finally, he pulled into a small cafe. I parked a few spaces away and watched as he walked inside. A few minutes later, a young woman, probably in her late teens, entered and sat across from him. She smiled warmly, and David's expression softened. It was as though I were watching a scene from someone else's life. That night, I couldn't contain my emotions. As we sat at the dinner table, I put down my fork and looked at David. "David, who is Lila?" I asked, my voice steady but firm. David's face went pale. He froze for a moment, then stammered, "Sarah, I can explain." "Then explain," I said, my voice breaking. "I followed you today. I saw you with her." "Who is she?" David leaned back, running his hands through his hair. "She's my daughter," he said quietly. The words hung in the air, heavy and shocking. "Your daughter?" I repeated, barely able to comprehend. He nodded. "Before I met you, I was in a relationship with another woman. We broke up, and I never knew she was pregnant. Lila's mother passed away when Lila was 12. She's been living with her grandparents ever since. When Lila turned 16, she wanted to meet me. She found out about me from her grandparents and reached out. I didn't know how to tell you." My mind was spinning. For years, we had tried to have a child, and now I was learning that David already had a daughter. I felt a mix of relief that he wasn't having an affair and hurt that he had kept this from me. "Why didn't you tell me, David?" I asked, tears streaming down my face. "I was scared," he admitted. "I didn't know how you'd react." and I didn't want to hurt you." I took a deep breath, trying to process everything. "I need some time," I said. Over the next few days, I threw myself into work and avoided David. I needed to sort out my feelings. Part of me was angry at him for hiding such an important part of his life. Another part of me empathized with his fear. I also couldn't stop thinking about Lila. What was she like? Did she look like David? Was she kind? Eventually, I realized that avoiding the situation wouldn't help. I needed to meet Lila and see for myself. When I told David, he looked relieved. "Thank you. It means so much to me," he said. The following weekend, David invited Lila over to our home. I was nervous as I prepared tea and snacks. When the doorbell rang, my heart raced. David opened the door, and in walked Lila. She was tall and slender, with David's dark eyes and warm smile. "Hi, I'm Lila," she said, extending her hand. "Hi, Lila." "I'm Sarah," I said, shaking her hand. "It's nice to meet you." We sat in the living room, talking about everything and nothing. Lila was bright and charming, with a quick wit that reminded me of David. As the afternoon went on, my initial apprehension melted away. By the time she left, I felt a genuine connection with her. Over the next few months, Lila became a regular visitor at our home. We shared meals, watched movies, and even painted together in my studio. She was eager to learn about David's life and seemed genuinely happy to be part of our family. During this time, David and I had many long conversations. "I'm sorry I didn't tell you earlier," he said one night as we sat on the couch. "I was wrong to keep it from you." "I understand why you were scared," I said. "But we're partners. We're supposed to face things together." He nodded, taking my hand. "Thank you for understanding. I promise to do better." One sunny afternoon, Lila and I decided to take a walk in the nearby park. As we strolled along the winding paths, surrounded by blooming flowers and chirping birds, she turned to me and said, "Sarah, thank you for giving me and Dad a chance. I know this hasn't been easy for you." Her words caught me off guard, and I felt a lump form in my throat. "Lila, you're part of the family now," I said softly, surprising even myself. "I don't know when it happened, but I've come to care for you like you're my own." Lila smiled, her eyes glistening with emotion. "That means so much to me," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. We continued our walk, a newfound bond forming between us, one that felt as natural as the breeze brushing against our faces. As I reflected on everything, I realized that life is full of unexpected twists. While this revelation had shaken our marriage, it had also given us the chance to grow. Lila's presence brought new joy into our lives, and my bond with David grew stronger as we navigated this challenge together. Now, as I stand in the kitchen, preparing dinner with Lila and David laughing in the background, I feel a sense of peace. Life may not always go as planned, but it has a way of surprising us in the most beautiful ways. Our happiness didn't end there, because soon we found out we'll be having another family member. But that is a story for another time. What a beautiful story that was. It taught us that honesty and communication are the foundation of any relationship. Even in the face of unexpected challenges, love and understanding can help us grow stronger together. Today, we also learned some new English words and phrases to help us improve our language skills. Remember, practicing a little every day makes learning English fun and effective. Keep practicing, keep improving, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next story.